Hey there, Birdbrains! Welcome to Aerial Dive podcast, where today we will be talking about the topic of how birds evolved from dinosaurs. Did you guys know that fact?
What?
That birds evolved from dinosaurs.
Oh, I think so.
I did.
Yeah, so a good amount of our group here, 3 out of 4, actually knew this fact. But how many of you guys knew that birds are considered reptiles?
As in,
Oh.
snake, lizard?
Yeah, snake, lizard, reptile birds.
I guess none of us knew that.
I know. Tough crowd today.
Snake bird sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about some of these facts so we can see this connection of how we got from dinosaurs to birds?
Yeah, I would like to know how you get from like a hawk to a dinosaur.
All right, well then let's go ahead and start off with dinosaurs. I mean, they've got the eggshells, they've got the nest brooding, they had some of those traits to pass on to the birds.
Yeah, I had an aunt that laid eggs.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Was she a
We don't have to talk.
Yep.
anybody else have less chickeny ants?
I have an ant colony that lays eggs, but that's about it.
All right, well, we've got some interesting ants, but that doesn't really help us to continue to make that connection from birds to dinosaurs. So let's talk about their first relative, the theropod. This is the relative of birds and the carnivorous dinosaurs, and it occurred during the Triassic and Jurassic periods. So the important thing about this guy is that it's got bipedalism, the 2 legs, the elongated necks, and the tail structure to pass on to birds.
Like a giraffe?
Similar to a giraffe, they probably look pretty similar if we pull them up in a picture.
Yeah. You pull one up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do you know how to spell it?
Or a
Not a giraffe. No, not giraffe. Yes, that one.
Wait, are you sure it's that one? Not
Yeah.
wait, let's see.
Look at it.
Oh yeah, no, I see.
Here, I'll show you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Check this thing out.
All right. So, yeah, we had some theropod ancestors, but there were also some more transitional ancestors, like the Archaeopteryx. So, I have asked my roommates, my podcast guest mates, to go ahead and pull up some of these pictures. So, whoever has the Archaeopteryx, could you go ahead and show that?
I did have that pulled up. Took me 4 minutes to figure out how to spell it. Look at this guy.
Oh wow, that's a. Is that a bird or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You know, I had a neighbor that had a pet bird.
Yeah.
Seems pretty pet.
What do we think
it
about?
does.
We can see the
I can see the connection between birds.
But I don't see the connection between dinosaurs.
I see. So yeah, but we actually have some ancestors that come a little bit further down that line, such as the Deinonychus. Does somebody have a picture of the Deinonychus to share? Nobody has a picture of the Deinonychus.
Are you gonna show us? No, that makes sense.
Um,
I see it now.
I think I see the connection.
So
Yeah. It's
on the coffin, they have fossils of the feathers. Somebody share a picture of
I
Oh.
pass that one.
Interesting.
They actually, in looking at these feathers, identified 2 major structural categories.
It kind of looks like a leaf.
And non-shafted. So yeah, these integumentary feathers on the initial dinosaurs even got fossilized. So now
Yeah. I definitely see how you could to it.
really great input, you guys.
Could you define to a dinosaur real quick?
Yeah, like kind of like a dinosaur. Well, you know,
Wouldn't it?
not like a dinosaur, but like a hawk.
But you're saying it the wrong way.
Have you ever talked to a dinosaur?
No, they're extinct. How would I be able to talk to a dinosaur?
Well, if you talk to a hawk, how close are you?
You can't talk to a hawk. They don't speak English.
I mean, you
You
never
got
know.
me there.
They
All right, yeah, well, let's look at that final nail in the coffin, wing digits. Now, this one gets a little bit complicated, but the original ancestors, the theropods, they lost digits 4 and 5 in a 5-digit wing, right? And then some of those later ancestors lost 1 and 5, so now 5, 1, and 4 are all out of the mix. And those bird digits are now only identified as 2, 3, and 4.
Wow. Ooh, really?
Yeah.
What happened later? They just renamed.
Yeah, sometimes science has interesting processes. It'd be interesting to talk to people who study birds and bird fossils.
I should talk.
I agree.
Yeah, so that kind of sums up everything I've got. Any additional thoughts on the bird to dinosaur?
So, just to be clear, we didn't go from a hawk to a dinosaur. We went from a dinosaur to a hawk. Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, it's like,
Real helpful. Thanks.
yeah, okay. Well, I think that finishes up all of our time on Aerial Dive today. Thank you so much to my roommates for co-starring with me, and we will see you all in the sky.